everybody, and welcome to my attempt at doing a guide for First Light, being the Trials of Osiris map. Now, the main reason why I wanted to do a guide for this map is because not a lot of people even know it's a thing. If you are a fairly new Destiny player, most likely you have never ever played this map. So throughout this guide, I'm going to be using a reference map that has all the callouts for First Light. Now, this map was created by word_NA4733 on Reddit, so a big shout out to him because this is going to help me and hopefully a lot of you guys. So this is a reference that I'm going to be using when I'm talking about First Light. So first things first, let's go through these callouts. First of all, we have Shipyard, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4 within Shipyard. We then have Engine, Alpha, Little Dome, Tunnel, Big Dome. Then on the right side, we have Mammoth and Caves. We then have Pride, which is in between Big Dome and Building 1. Now, Building 1, I already did call B because that is where the B flag is when you are playing Control. So that's B1, and I would usually say, because there are 3 levels to this B room, I would usually say top B, middle B, or bottom B, but if you want to use what this map is using, such as T1, T2, middle, whatever, that's completely up to you. I personally do like to say B bottom, B middle, or B top, because that's just a preference of me playing Control on the map and understanding where those spawns are, but that, like I said, is a total preference for you. We then have Burrow to the right side of Building 1, which is between Big Dome and B Building. We then have Highway, followed by Platform 1, which is directly across from B. To the left of that, we have Ridge. We then have Bravo, Ski Lift, and Waste. So that's going to be the callouts that I'm using, and this is going to be the map that we are referencing. So I will definitely keep throwing it up on the screen so things don't get too confusing. Now, first things first, let's talk about the cap point. Where does it spawn? It spawns at B. If you have ever played Control on this map, it is exactly where the B flag is. If you haven't, then you have a visual representation of where that is. It is in B. Just like on the map, Building 1, it is B. And it's at the bottom, it's not at the top, it's not in the middle. It is outside on the bottom of B. So that's going to be the point that you're wanting to kind of control. Of course, you can go to other places on this map. You can definitely go to other places. But if it is coming down to time, which a good amount of games do because it is a fairly large map, then you want to definitely have control of the Building 1, Platform 1, Highway, and Ridge. I would say that these are kind of really important to have a control over so you can catch people trying to come over to B for when that cap point does spawn. Now, one really big piece of advice that I will give you guys from just something that I noticed when playing First Light is we have our radar back, but you cannot completely trust it. Because the map is so incredibly big, the radar actually doesn't show you everything. So try not to be too reliant on the radar. For example, if you are spawning on Bravo side and you go and take a left, someone who's spawning on Alpha can go all the way through Mammoth through to Caves, and they can stay off your radar and have a complete awesome view of you to pick your head open and take you down. So definitely be very aware of looking at your screen, try and see where people are going, because if you don't, you might get caught off guard, because like I said, the map is very big and your radar is not going to show you everything. So one big tip that I will give when it starts on Bravo, because I do think that Bravo has the better spawn when it comes to this map, is when I start, I would immediately run forward like you can see me doing here, and I would jump on top of this rock just to see if I can see anyone cutting through to B. Because usually what you will see if someone's coming from Alpha spawn and they hop on a Sparrow, or if they're jumping, you will see them slightly, even if just for a little tiny second, going from their spawn over to B. If I don't see anyone going that way, then I can either assume that they went cave side or they went all the way through Shipyard and trying to go through Ridge. So that's just a little tip that I can give you guys to try and figure out where the enemy is. Communication is going to be very important when it comes to this because, like I said, you cannot trust your radar as much as you usually can. You're not going to be able to just stand in the middle of the map and pretty much know where everyone is. So definitely be calling out if someone's going cave side, if they're going Shipyard side, Ridge side, or if they're going through the middle. That's going to be super duper important. Another big tip and something to look out for is people camping on top of Little Dome and Big Dome. You can get very, 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 very high, pretty much to the top, and a lot of people will have this perfect line of sight over a large majority of the map from on top of those domes. So definitely make sure to keep checking up there to see no one's trying to cheese you, because if you get taken out by that, it's going to be super frustrating. Now, just to talk about some common pathways, what I saw people do through playing Trials of Osiris, what the common way to walk around or fly around on your sparrow on this map was. I saw a lot of people going cave side. That seemed to be a side that people loved to go. Even though it's the opposite side of the map to where the cap point is, there's a lot of sneaky things that you can do cave side. Like I said, because of the radar, you can totally manipulate it. You can show not on the radar at all, and you can pick people off. So a lot of people do like to go cave side. I would say that it's not even worth going cave side because of the risk that that whole thing has. I personally found it incredibly difficult to fight going over there. I felt like it was harder to know where people were shooting me from. It was easier to get caught off guard. So I tended to move away from cave side, and I just wanted to control this shipyard area, ridge, and the building where the cap point actually spawns. I much prefer to control this whole area than going anywhere near caves. I just personally think that that worked better for me. I can't say if it's gonna work better for you, but the cap point is there. So if you have control over that part of the map, then you are controlling the power point of the map. So I think it kind of makes sense to go towards where the cap point spawns and trying to get a lockdown on that entire area. Now, just to talk about shipyard a little bit, this is going to be a place that you're going to have to be very, very careful of, because as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 things that they can stand on top of or hide within, and then there's a bunch of rocks in the middle that they can hide behind or stand on top of. So if you do not see people going cave side, you don't see people middle, be really, really careful in scouting out that shipyard. Try to stay out of any super obvious lines of sight, and you should be totally fine. You could even just sit in B and just wait for the cap point if you're really struggling, but just be careful of shipyard. As long as you are aware that there are a lot of lines of sight that people can pick you off from, you should be totally fine. Now, when it comes to the map, I think that's pretty much all the tips that I have. Just try and control where the cap point is. That's generally my advice for all Trials of Osiris maps. And don't rely on your radar too much. Try to make sure that, of course, you are glancing at it to see if anyone is super close to you. But what will be more important will be your actual eyes on the map this time around, because the radar will totally not show you someone sitting at the back of the map sniping you. They're not going to show you that person. And also make sure to communicate with your team if you see them going anywhere. If they're going cave side, call it out immediately. If they're going shipyard, call it out immediately. And use this map as a reference to get your callouts down, to get your communication better. I think that having callouts for a map is super duper helpful. Now let's talk about loadouts, because this map actually makes scout rifles be super duper good. The one team that we faced this weekend that were probably the hardest people that we went up against, all 3 of them were using Jade Rabbit, and they had Matador as a special. So they didn't go for the sniping route. A lot of people have gone for the sniping route. They instead went for this really high impact scout rifle. If Jade Rabbit catches you off guard, you are dead. It takes 3 headshots to kill someone. That is not a lot of time for you to realize what's happening and get away. If you do not have Jade Rabbit, anything that is of the same impact type will do you very well. So definitely look out for some high impact things. I know Last Extremity, I think that's what it's called. It's a scout rifle that is the Vanguard, I believe. I might be wrong. You can look it up. I might be totally wrong. But I'm pretty sure that it's called Last Extremity, and that has a very, very high impact. So just look for those high impact scout rifles. They are going to do you really good. Of course, you can go down the sniping route if you are someone who enjoys sniping, and couple that with either a Clever Dragon or a hand cannon or a scout rifle. That's actually totally up to you. For me personally, when I was sniping, I found that the best thing to couple it with was either Blind Perdition or Clever Dragon. I found that those things work the best because Clever Dragon is amazing at medium and short range. Same with Blind Perdition, and then I got my long range covered with my sniper. Now, I will say that I was using Queenbreaker's bow. I was using it a lot. Now, it is a weapon that it's become kind of known on my stream that I love using Queenbreakers, but the actual reason why I pulled it out for First Light is because a lot of people are choosing to snipe. Queenbreaker's bow has a ridiculous aim assist, so if you are looking to out-snipe people, Queenbreaker's bow is actually a super good choice for you to use. So that's gonna be my recommendation for weapons. Jade Rabbit, really good, but make sure you probably go with a shotgun or something. I wouldn't recommend Jade Rabbit Sniper because then you are at a huge disadvantage up close. Jade Rabbit Shotgun is really good, or any high impact scout. You can also use multi-tool, of course. That's going to allow you to get around the map really quick, so that's always good. And if you're going to be sniping, I say couple it with a Clever Dragon, and you will be a-okay when it comes to all that. So I think that's it for the guide to First Light. I hope that the call out map was useful to you. Thank you again to the Reddit user word_NA4733. This map is super duper helpful. And I hope that some of the tips that I threw your way also help you go flawless this week. I'm kind of excited that more people are seeing this map because this is a beta map. This is an alpha map. And it definitely has some nostalgia to me, so it was nice to play it, even though it is very different to what we are used to. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please leave it a like. And if you have any other advice or tips for anyone at all, please do leave it in the comment section. As I always say, I love that we are a community and we can help each other get good at this game. So let those comments fly with all of your tips and advice, and I will speak to you awesome people later. Bye.